I was a GM in Chicago when we drafted Michael. We were third. Portland passed on Michael because they had Clyde Drexler, and they felt they did not need a wing, so they didn't take Michael because of that.
Drafting Michael Jordan would prove the greatest personnel move in Bulls history. But the team nearly had the opportunity to trade away the foundation before he ever arrived. In his book, Tip-Off, How the 1984 Draft Changed Basketball Forever, Philip Bondi tells the story of a potential deal that would have changed the course of NBA history.
It was a book about what ifs. What if the Houston Rockets had offered Ralph Sampson to the Chicago Bulls as trade bait for Jordan, for that Jordan pick at number 3? And the Bulls would have taken that one. Who could have resisted Ralph Sampson after his rookie season? Ralph Sampson would have been enough. I'm sure of it, and I think that Rod had hinted that to me at one point when I was writing the book, researching the book. Sampson would have been enough.
One of the things I give Jordan a lot of credit for, if Luke Longley was posting up and called for the ball, Jordan would throw it. And he knows how to leverage every position to the max. So he knows if I play with him, he will maximize my talent to complement his game.
So what we're looking at right now is quite possibly the greatest what-if team in NBA history. And just to be clear, like, you could throw any collection of players together and call it like a what-if team. What I mean by a what-if team is a team that nearly materialized but didn't. Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, and Hakeem Olajuwon. And you're probably looking at this team, if you're not familiar with this situation, and going, how is this even possible? Well, according to Hakeem Olajuwon in his book, you got to remember, the NBA was defined by the big man before Michael Jordan shows up. Those were the guys who were always winning the championship. And the Rockets already had Ralph Sampson heading into the 1984 draft, where Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler were available. So the Portland Trail Blazers have the second overall pick, which in reality they used on Sam Bowie. But they also had a player who had been in the NBA for 1 year already, Clyde Drexler. Now, Clyde Drexler in his first year in the NBA, it wasn't anything too special. He was only averaging like 8 points a game. And so after his first season, he showed some promise, but they didn't know what he was going to develop into yet. So Portland had the idea that they should offer their second overall draft pick and Clyde Drexler to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Ralph Sampson. Because Ralph Sampson was a proven, legitimate man at that point.
Fire.
If that had happened, it was that close to happening. If that had happened, the Rockets would have taken Hakeem Olajuwon with the first pick. And then they don't want Sam Bowie. They just took Hakeem. Then they would have taken Michael Jordan with the second pick. And obviously they had just traded for Clyde Drexler. Meaning, within the first 2 years of their careers, they have Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Clyde Drexler all on the same team. And If you remember, the Houston Rockets in 1986, with Hakeem and Ralph Sampson, made it to the NBA Finals, where they eventually lost to the Boston Celtics. So with a team that is significantly less talented and well-rounded than what this would have been, they already making it to the NBA Finals in the West. So guys, how long would it have taken for them to start winning? If these guys stick together, do you foresee any issues? And how many championships are you projecting for some of these guys?
You want to take it, or you want me to take it?
You can start.
So the one thing that I think gets forgotten about that late 80s Rockets run, and me and Dario did it's the finals episode of Apex Greatness is on the 85-86 season and Hakeem Olajuwon's run to the finals and that whole team. So if you want to deep dive into that season, please feel free to check that out. But the one thing I was astounded by was the coaching of Bill Fitch. Because he was the coach of the Celtics in the early 80s and got to the first championship, I believe, with them. And then he went to the Rockets right on time to play or to coach Sampson and Olajuwon. And he was really good at playing guys out of position, which I never saw. I've never seen anybody do that in the 80s. Playing guys out of position, playing big guys at point guard because they just had so many injuries in their team. they were just destroyed. And one guy I think got suspended for cocaine use.
Yeah.
It was during that period of the league where they were getting everybody for that. And I think I would if they had this team, they definitely win immediately because the coaching is so good that I think Bill Fitch is able to find a role for all those guys because they all do play different positions. And I think putting them against the 86 Celtics, woo, man, that would be a fun finals, boy. Oh, man. Considering what we know that Jordan did to him, oh, that'd be a fun finals.
Well, here's another question. I mean, do the Showtime Lakers make it to another NBA Finals?
See, that's my issue here is I don't know. I don't think that first year is the same for Houston where you just put them into the finals because they previously went in. And that's only because Sampson and Akeem were a huge issue for Kareem at that time. And I think that you had the Twin Towers that it pretty much took Kareem, or I don't want to say it took Kareem completely out of the game, but it made it significantly more difficult. If it's only Hakeem dealing with Kareem, I could see that being a different series. Also, they went 6 games with the Lakers. I mean, with the Houston, I think for that first year in particular, I think the Lakers actually make the championship round because of that. I think losing Ralph Sampson is actually an issue, but I could see this team obviously being a dynasty. Like how not? Like they're gonna dominate the 90s easily because Jordan already did. So imagine that with so they're easily gonna dominate the 90s. I think maybe Pistons never win a championship. But I think it's hard to completely say that the Lakers and the Celtics aren't going to win what they won.
Man, I don't know. So here's the thing. That first year, I agree that's the toughest year to predict because in 1985, you have Ralph Sampson and Akeem Olajuwon. And people might think that right as Hakeem got there, he was the best player. Well, Hakeem in his rookie year finished 12th in the MVP voting. Ralph Sampson finished 10th, and his numbers were just slightly better than Olajuwon. So I'm pretty sure for the first year, like pretty much it was agreed upon that Ralph Sampson was the best player on that team, but it flips soon afterwards. In their rookie years, and you want to talk about like immediately being ready, Clyde Drexler, so this is his second year, he's averaging 17 points, 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 2.2 blocks. 2.2 steals. So that's Clyde. So yeah. Clyde's finding himself. But Hakeem's averaging 20.6 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks. Michael Jordan, he's already in the MVP conversation. He finished 6th in the MVP voting in his rookie year, averaging 28.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, and 2.4 steals. So I mean, this team would be, pretty ready to compete immediately. Now, Michael Jordan, we're still assuming he breaks his foot in 1986, so maybe you're holding off a couple years. But by 1987, we're now Clyde is Clyde. MJ was 37 points per game, MJ. Hakeem Olajuwon. You're going up against the Showtime Lakers at their best. I don't know, man. I feel like at the latest 88, they start winning championships and they're cleaning. I
was about to say maybe this is a hot take, but I know 87 the LA Lakers were great, but like they had a great roster the whole time, but like I don't think that's them I think the early 80s is them honestly at their best in terms of like roster strength, but that's my opinion. Like Kareem stayed good as he got older, but he wasn't the Kareem that he was. Like I'd say once they hit 85 and Kareem got that finals MVP, I'd say that was probably their best season in my opinion. But
it's tough. Go ahead.
I just think I think the Rockets, especially when you put Hakeem down there. Now, Kareem dominated Hakeem Olajuwon early in Olajuwon's career. Like wiped the floor with both Sampson and Olajuwon, even as an old man, just dominated him, 40 points. And I just think that could still be tough, but I don't know. The combination and the Lakers, Michael Cooper and, you want to put Byron Scott and Michael Cooper on Jordan and Drexler. At least they have some people to guard each guy. That's going to be a lot of problems for a lot of teams in the league, but that's a big three before big threes were cool in a lot of ways. And I think that's, and like I said, when you add the good coaching in that, and you have a coach that knows what to do with the pieces around the stars, man, I think that's a recipe for serious success.
I definitely think 87. I get your point, because you definitely get a better Kareem earlier on. I do think the Lakers were overall at their best in 87 because James Worthy wasn't a first-time All-Star until 1986. So now he's really asserted himself and been, I mean, it's debatable at that point who's really the number two, Kareem or James Worthy, like production-wise and everything. Kareem's your half-court skyhook guy, but James Worthy is the most common recipient on the Magic Johnson fast break. And so Worthy was fantastic. And then you have Michael Cooper, who was at his best and was the Defensive Player of the Year in 1987. So, I mean, either way, they're really, really stacked. But I'm not trying to be.
That's like a 7-game series, in my opinion. Like,
well, to me, Magic was also at its best in '87 because
that's true.
After they lost, and didn't even make it to the finals in 1986, Pat Riley approached Magic and said, "We need you to score more." And because he approached him that way, now Magic's putting up ridiculous two-way numbers that basically we've never seen since, at least as high as the assists are getting while putting up like 24 points a game. Then by the finals, he's averaging 26 points and 13 assists, which is like almost unheard of, you know? So I think just out of respect to the Showtime Lakers, that being one of the greatest teams of all time, I'm going to say they're going to keep it. But once 88 gets there, the Rockets are, with that coaching, with that talent, with those pieces that support each other. Is Clyde Drexler the perfect Scottie Pippen to him?
Hopefully.
No, but I'm pretty confident he could have developed to be that, because you're getting him from the very beginning.
That's the piece. Like, it's like having, even if he's not the Scottie Pippen, it's like he's gonna still be the third. He's definitely the third. Like, Hakeem is 100% gonna be his second guy.
Well, what I mean by that is he going to be a great defensive wing like Scottie Pippen was? Is he gonna be like he's way more athletic. He was a better perimeter shooter. So there are like pros that Clyde Drexler brings, because don't forget, Clyde Drexler was a guy who, at his best, he was bringing teams to the NBA Finals in the West when he took them there in 1990 and in 1992, and eventually he did win a championship alongside of Hakeem in 1995. But they're winning championships way earlier in this scenario. And so let me throw out a number for you guys. Does it sound too bold or too outlandish to predict 10 championships for this team?
I don't know about all that.
Yes, how not?
MJ won.
Yes.
The
answer is yes.
Won 2. Okay, then realistically, MJ won 6. What is an estimate if you give him Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon to start his career and he's winning as early as the 80s? Like, what is your guess?
Well,
it's got to be more than 6, I would think.
No, but this is the thing that you're not factoring in. If he's doing championships even earlier than 1991. Maybe he really just retires by 93 and calls it.
Maybe.
Like, that, it happened in real life, regardless of them. If you're telling me he's got 6 by 1993, maybe that's it. And
here's the thing. Hakeem and Drexler, mostly Hakeem, won the championships in the in-between years anyway. And so maybe MJ doesn't get 10 because he retires early, but Hakeem might.
Hakeem might get 7, maybe. I don't know. I just think I could see, I don't know. I get what you guys are saying. They definitely be the most talented team in the league that we currently know about, but there's a lot to be said for, like, when the Warriors got made, the Rockets were made to counteract that in the late 2010s. Like, they failed, but they were still made to go against that team.
I was going to say, how do you counteract Hakeem and Jordan on the same team with Drexler?
That's really interesting, right? Yeah. I think it would be fun to see the teams like, what if Barkley was like, well, these guys are on the same team. I'm going with Magic.
Sure.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
Like, what, you know what I mean? That's the stuff you're not factoring in, is like, we saw when Hakeem and Sampson dominated and got to the finals, that next season in 87 and 88 specifically, the entire league shifted. The entire league went Twin Towers and wanted two big guys to dominate.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. The league's going to copycat success. So it'll be really interesting to see what they do with the stars after that point, because absolutely the league's going to shift because of this trifecta of dominance.
So you think what happens is just like more player movement, more like they start, because that's always been a thing throughout NBA history. I mean, now you get guys kind of like coordinating behind the scenes and like teaming up and that sort of thing. But as far as like from a general manager standpoint, there's always been, okay, they did this thing, now we got to do this thing. You know, even like an example is like the Celtics are too physical in 2008. And so we got to get more physical for if we face them. So let's bring in Ron Artest for the 2010 run. Exactly. And that's like, it's always a read and react league. And so, yeah, that would have been it. But even then, like, it's got to be something like that. You would have to be like, I need to get, you know, Patrick Ewing to go along with like Stockton and Malone or something like that. Like in order to have a chance, you'd have to have like, you know,
or like what if like,
but even then, is that going to be enough?
Dude, like that the Bulls, or sorry, not the Bulls, the Houston being able to do that through the draft, that allows them to just keep on building throughout the dynasty, versus any other team would have to make a huge trade, losing assets in order to make that happen, which automatically makes it a short-term plan for that team, where this team in particular is like, they're set for the future, and then anything that happens is just bonus points, you know?
We're also talking about building a super team of the guys who got dominated by the guys who are already on one team together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, oh, let's put Patrick Ewing and Malone and Stockton already together. And it's like, well, they all got dominated by this other team who were doing it by themselves, you know? So it's like, I don't know, man. It's just, it's hard to put like, it's hard to say what estimate is like too safe, you know? Because like, I gotta admit, Russell, when I hear you throw out the number 7, I get if they just like are like, we just won 5 straight championships, let's just call it. Like, sure. But assuming they play for a while together, how can we not just say,
telling me MJ's not going to say we got to beat Bill Russell or something like that? Like, he's done, because before his main goal was like passing Magic, right? Like that was his thing, at least when
he did retire at the age of 30, so it's hard to say what MJ would do. Like, he wanted number 7, but Jerry Krause didn't let it happen. But he's also the guy who retired at 30 after 3. So it's like, it's hard for me to say which way MJ's going to lean on that.
I feel like, I mean, do we still assume, like, I mean, I guess we still have to assume his dad and everything, because I feel like that was a huge piece of him, or reason for him wanting to retire. So I think he
wanted to play baseball as early as 92. So it's like, that's where it's just one of those things where you really don't know. Like I said, if the man got 5 championships before 1993, I'd just be like, dude, I got these so much faster than Magic. Let's call it. He did it in 11. I did it in 9. I feel fine with that.
I think Michael's coming back regardless. Even to this day, it's pretty clear he's never let go of basketball. It's pretty clear. Like, he literally just said recently on an NBC interview, if he could take a magic pill to where he could play against these guys, he's still grasping at the NBA. He still wants to. So my assumption
that way, I would assume, for the most
part. Kobe let go of it. Like, it is a pretty common feeling.
Again, magic pill world, Kobe's not letting go of nothing. Get out of here.
No, he just got obsessed over new things. Nah, I believe what he said over what you're saying.
0.
But the assumption I'm making is Michael Jordan's going to step away for 2 years. Like, he's going to step away for 2 years. I don't know if it's like, that's a good theory that maybe he does it even earlier because they had more success earlier. But I think at some point he's going to go to baseball, realize he's not, you know, an elite baseball player, and this isn't as fun as he thought it'd be. And then he's going to come back to basketball. And maybe Hakeem and Clyde just win the 2 in between anyway. It's just like, can you rule that out? Like, that's ridiculous. But it's kind of, you know, I don't know.
What happened?
It's nuts.
It's kind of what happened. So
say a number. Give me a number. Everybody needs to give me a number. I'm saying 10.
That's 10 is wild. I'll go 5, and that's with league shifting and trying to defend them and all that. I'll go 5.
5?
Yeah.
How does he get less
That's insane.
than with Pippen?
Crazy,
Like,
because I believe he retires in 93 and doesn't come back. I really
doesn't
believe
come
that.
back.
Well, you just had like a whole extra like fake thing. We're already making a whole like.
I'm allowed to do that. To exactly your point. I'm allowed to do
Michael Jordan leaves the game of basketball at 30 and the itch never
100%.
gets strong enough for him to come back? Oh man, I disagree with
100%.
that. I get why you say 5 now. Your 5 number makes sense based on that logic. I just can't see
5
Michael
and 9
being content
seasons
not
is
playing
incredible.
Again. No, it's
5 and 9
awesome.
seasons is incredible.
The
Better
hardest
than
part of your point for me to believe is that Michael Jordan would never be tempted to pick up a basketball again enough to act upon it starting at the age of 30. Like,
I mean, you're right, because the league got so weak, he did decide to come back, and I'm sure that would happen again. But I don't know.
I'm going 11 rings. And this is strictly off of just adding
it
in
would
all
look weak the instant these 3 got together. But anyway, sorry, continue, Dario.
Just adding all the rings that he would, besides the 80, because I'm giving enough respect to the 86 Celtics and the 87 Lakers to say that they keep those championships. I think that them being obviously super vets, like literally like the who made that decade, I'm just not going to say that these youngins are going to beat them in a 7-game series. And then after the fact, once those Lakers and Celtics kind of move on, I think these Houston Rockets are going to go on to just sweep all the way until they retire.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And listen, I know it sounds comical to suggest that many championships, but again, I know it's so far in the past, and I know there's various reasons, lack of free agency, all that sort of thing. But there was like people experienced and people participated in an era where the Boston Celtics won 8 straight. Yeah. Like, talk about having a stranglehold on the league. So in that sense, we know it is possible. It's a much different time and all that, but comical things have happened before, comical level of dominance. And so I don't know. I just think it'd be so
If that
unfair.
did happen, though, there's no way he would, like, if he really won 8 titles, like in all like he comes in the league and instantly starts winning, and then he'd be retired by 93, 100%.
There's only
100%.
2 things, I think we all agree, there's only 2 things that could have potentially stopped this team. Is basically the entirety of the dream team, other than Jordan, all decides we got to stop these guys, and they all team up together, or they just like have chemistry issues, or they just get bored and retire early. They would have to stop themselves, or there would have to be a super team that runs like 8 dudes deep. Like,
yes,
that's the only way this could be stopped.
No. And even those 60 Celtics, they had 7-game series and stuff like that where they had challenges throughout that run. But my only thing is, like, they were led by the defensive GOAT of that era, Bill Russell, right? I think like just the mindset of MJ would like to crush. Like, I feel like his mindset going into every single season is destroying his opponent. That's why I feel like they'll dominate. And then he's just gonna like his first thought is, I gotta beat Magic. Once he beats Magic out for championships, he's gonna go to the next guy up there, and it's gonna be Bill Russell. And then it's like
theoretically,
30 years after you did it, I'm doing it, and I'm the real GOAT. Like,
theoretically, though, he might have beat Magic a whole lot earlier and faster than he did, because at the very least, if he keeps them from winning in '88, now Magic's at 4.
Yep.
Yeah. And so he might catch.
That's why I think 5 is realistic. I really do. Now you're getting me back to 5.
I just don't think Michael's done at 93. I can't see it because he's only 30. And he loves basketball too much. Like, he loves it way too much. He had written into his contract a love of the game clause, which allows him to play basketball for free at any point in time. And that's his freedom. That's how much he loves the game basketball. Clause. Yeah, that he's got to be able to play. And to tell me that like a guy is going to stay retired at 30, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Just take your 5 and then bounce. But
yep,
I think he's coming back. Maybe he comes back to another team so at least something feels like a challenge. But Dario, I think you're the only person who didn't say a number. What's your number?
I said 11.
I
think you won 11 championships. I think I think after so they went from 88 to 98.